What's up YouTube? Today we are going to be finding a missing side using SOHCAHTOA. The word that you need to learn, SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. If you're having an issue remembering SOHCAHTOA, just think suck a toe. Suck a toe. SOHCAHTOA. You're not going to forget it. Suck a toe, SOHCAHTOA. The key skill that we need for this is we need to be able to label in hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. If you can't do that, you have to click on this video here so that you're able to do that. Okay, we're going to start labeling this triangle. First thing we need to check, is it right angled? Yeah, there's a right angle there. If it's not right angle, you can't use SOHCAHTOA. Only use SOHCAHTOA when it is a right angled triangle. So we're going to start labelling it. This is our right angle, so this is our hypotenuse. This is our angle, so this is our opposite because it's opposite our angle. It's the only one not touching our angle, it's opposite it. We've got O, we've got H, which means the final one has to be A. Our question involves a missing side. We're trying to find X, so we're trying to find H. So our question involves H because we're looking for H. So it involves H. 20 is the number, so it involves 20. So O, 20, it involves the opposite. The adjacent doesn't have a number that we're using, it doesn't have a value that we're using, and it doesn't have an algebra. So our question doesn't involve A. I'm going to show you a few more examples of what I mean by does involve and doesn't involve now. Okay, so I've just created a few more questions and I've already labelled them hypotenuse, 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 opposite the right angle, and opposite, opposite our angle, opposite, opposite our angle, and opposite, opposite our angle, and adjacent, the final letter, adjacent, the final letter, adjacent, the final letter. In this question here, X, the missing value, 3 is H. So can you see, again, we're not using A at all. We're looking for X and we're going to use the hypotenuse. So for this one here, it would be O and H. In this one here, we're looking for the adjacent and we have the value of the hypotenuse. So this one here, we're involving A and involving H. So A and H. In this one here, we are given the value of the adjacent and we're looking for the opposites. We're not using H, we're not involving H, we are involving O and A. So write down O and A. Back to this question here. Okay, so with this question here, and with all SOHCAHTOA questions, a really important thing to know is SOHCAHTOA isn't actually one word, it's 3 words. It's SO, Ka, and Toa. With this one here, we know it involves O, which is 20. We know it involves X, which is H. And so we need the part of SOHCAHTOA which has O and H in. So we've got T-O-A. O means opposite. A means adjacent. So we still don't know what T is, but we know O is opposite, A is adjacent. C-A-H. A is adjacent, H, hypotenuse. Well, we're looking for OH. So we don't know what C is, but we know A is adjacent, H is hypotenuse, O is opposite, A is adjacent. So, well, we're looking for O and H. We're looking for the one that involves opposite and hypotenuse. So it's this one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a triangle. So you start just the order of the word S, and then it's O, and then it's H. That's how you spell SO. And you're creating a triangle like this. What we do is it's like when you do speed, distance, time, you cover up what you're looking for. So here, I'm going to cover up S, just as an example. And that means I'm doing O divided by H. Let's say I wanted to find O, I cover up O, and that means I'm doing S times H. Let's say I wanted to find H, I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to do O divided by S. If the things are on a level, you multiply them. If one's above the other, do this divided by this. What are we looking for? Well, we're trying to find X. x is h. So we're going to cover up h. And that means we're going to do O divided by S. O is the opposite. So it's going to be 20 divided by S. Well, we still don't know what S is. This is a really exciting moment because it's not often you get a new button on a calculator, but for SOHCAHTOA you get to use some new buttons. S is sine angle. C is cos angle. T is tan angle. So what that means is S means it's going to be sine and then the angle in the question. The angle, 35. So S, sine 35. If it was C, it would be cos 35. If we were using TOA, it would be tan and then our angle. So on this one here, 20 divided by sine and then our angle. So 20 divided by sine 35. And we can just type this into a calculator in one go. You can create a fraction. Everyone's calculator is going to be a bit different. Create a fraction and it's opposite over sine 35 because we're looking for h. So our opposite 20 divided by sine 35. And our answer is 34.869. And that's how we find the hypotenuse. Our answer is the hypotenuse, so x equals 34.869. So that's what we have to do. I'm going to go over another example. We're going to do this one slightly faster. So let's put up that new example now. Okay, a new question, but same idea. Our first step, is it right angled? Yes. Next step, label it. So here is our right angle, so here's our hypotenuse. Here is our angle, so here is our opposite. We've used O, we've used H, so we're going to use A. Next step, so first step, check it's right angled. Second step, label it. Third step, look at what we involve in the question. Well, we're looking for O, so it's going to involve O. A is 11, so it's going to involve A. We don't know what H is and it hasn't asked us to find H, so we're not using H at all. Looking at SOHCAHTOA, split it in 3. We're looking for which one involves opposite and adjacent. Opposite and hypotenuse, it's not this one. Adjacent and hypotenuse, well, we're trying to use opposite and adjacent, it's not this one. Opposite and adjacent is this one, it's T, which is tan angle. So we're going to draw out TOA. T, O, A. Put it in our triangle. We are looking for O. We're looking for O. So we're going to cover up O. And that means we're left with the bottom two. Remember, when you cover up the top one, you multiply the bottom two. If I'm covering up A, it's O divided by T. If I cover up T, O divided by A. If I cover up O, T times A. So T is tan this time, tan angle. So T, our angle 42, tan 42. Times A. A is 11, so tan 42 times 11. And this is how we're going to get tan 42, close the bracket, times 11, 9.904. And that's how we get our opposite. 9.904, and that's how we do it. One final example. Okay, so step 1, is it right angled? Yes. Step 2, label the triangle. So here's our arrow pointing towards our hypotenuse. This one here, opposite the angle. The final one, adjacent. What does our question involve? Is step 3. So we're looking for x, so it's h, and we're given 20, which is a. So now, SOHCAHTOA, we're looking for the one with adjacent hypotenuse. This one here is O and H, so it can't be this one here. This one here is O and A, but we're trying to look for A and H, so it can't be this one here. This one here is A and H, so it's this one here. So it's K. We do our triangle, writing out K, just how you'd spell it, doing our triangle like this. So if you read it that way, CAH still. we are looking for the hypotenuse. So we cover up the hypotenuse, and it's A divided by cos angle. So our A is 20 divided by cos angle, our angle 35. So 20 divided by cos 35, and that's going to tell us what the hypotenuse is. So creating the fraction, and it is 20 divided by cos 35. Close the bracket, and our answer is 24.415. Okay, so that is how you find missing sides using SOHCAHTOA. Check its right angle, label the triangle, see which of the sides are involved in the question, decide if you're using sine, cos or tan, create the triangle, work out what you're looking for, cover something up, and then it's either divide or multiply. Type it into your calculator, you'll have an excellent answer. But that doesn't answer what happens if we want to find a missing angle. And in the next video, we're going to go over what happens if you're looking for a missing angle. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.